Everyone, welcome to the Transparent Homeschool. My name is Beth, and I homeschool two kiddos right now, my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old. This is our first year homeschooling, so we are new to it, and we are actually pretty much done with our school year. We have like 2 more days left, and I couldn't be more excited. It has been quite a journey. I've learned a lot, and so I'm going to start making a lot of videos now that the school year is over. However, it being the end of our first homeschool year, I have kind of been in planning mode for year 2. And I've been doing some research about some different kinds of new things that I can incorporate into my day. One of the things that caught my eye was the morning basket. And so, again, this is just planning for next year. So I'm going to quickly show you what I have planned to include in my morning basket. And these, again, are just things that I think that my kids will find interesting, because I want to introduce this idea of like a morning basket, morning time, concept, and have them really respond to it well. And so I figured if I put in subjects that they like and talked about things that they were interested in and read books they found fascinating, then that would be a good start to the new kind of routine for our day. So I'm going to switch over the camera, and we are going to go through the morning basket that I have planned for next year. So this is the basket. I just got it at Hobby Lobby for 50% off, so that was pretty cool. And I know it looks like there's a lot in it right now. I'm going to explain why there's so many books in here. But from my understanding, I have a pretty good haul here. Okay. So let me go through it first, and then I'll kind of talk about it as we go along. So first we have our history portion. So we're going to do Bible, history, literature, so a read aloud, and then loop topics. So different things that I think are interesting for my kids to know, or so forth. The first thing I'm going to show you is our manual. Now, it did come in the big blue binder, but that definitely was going to drive me crazy, always opening that thing and trying to find where we are. So I took this to Office Depot and got it bound. I added a clear page over it, and then I got this really nice backing to it. And so that's what we're going to kind of go through. As you can see, I have marked this up quite a bit with kind of what we're going to do as far as how we're making this curriculum work for our family. As you notice, it is the black and white. So I went to a secondhand homeschool store that's local to us, and because it was Core A, my husband and I decided that it was a good fit for our family and our budget at the moment. So we bought this. It was published in 2011, so it is a very, not outdated, but it is an older version of the Sunlight Core A Intro to World Cultures. So what I did have to end up doing was go through the book list and kind of make notes of what's different from this edition to the one that is the newest edition. But I think most of the things were the same. They were just a little bit different read alouds and things like that. But the manual is definitely set up quite similar. You have your schedule, and then you have your notes behind it. So that part was the same. But again, I did make a lot of adjustments and things like that. Since this is going to be in our morning basket here, I added in all of the other things down here that we were going to add into our morning basket. So that way I had all of my materials in one place, the manual in one place to tell me, kind of what our reading selection is for that day. So that's the first thing that's going to always probably be in our morning basket. So for the history portion, again, Wild Places, Living Long Ago, and then the Children's Usborne Encyclopedia. Not all of these are going to be used at the same time. I think it's these two first, and then Wild Places comes in the fourth quarter. So this won't be in the basket for the first 3 quarters. It'll just be these. And then these will go away, and then this one will be in the basket. But again, I just wanted to show you all of the books that will be in the basket at some point during our year. Then, going into the read aloud, I do have, this is the first book that is on the list is The Boxcar Children. I'm really excited to read that. As you can see, it's pretty worn. Again, for budget restrictions this year, I bought all of this, unless I had it on hand already, at the secondhand homeschool store. So that's why things look a little bit more loved. I like to call books like this loved than you would normally get if you bought the package off the website. So we have our read aloud book, and then The Llama Who Had No Pajama. I'm really excited to read that. And then again, we did not get the Mother Goose one that comes with the Sunlight curriculum because I had to buy a second hand. So that's what we got. But again, Mother Goose tales are pretty much all the same, so how different could it really be? For Bible, I'm doing something a little different. First of all, like I've mentioned in some other videos that I have done, I am not going to be using the Bible in the Sunlight curriculum. This story Bible came with Memoria Press's kindergarten curriculum, and I absolutely love it. And so we are going to use this instead. Again, this is something that I already had. So for Memoria Press, you start at creation and you end with the death of Moses. And so that's for kindergarten. So what I decided to do was we're going to reread all of this Bible next year. And we're just going to read one story a day, which is great because they're just 2 pages, so it's not going to be too long. We're going to read one story from here every day. And then Pam Barnhill, I talk about her a lot. She talks about this idea of looping things. And so I have 3 things here that I do want to include in kind of the Bible area, I guess, the religious part of our day. So the first one is the Children's Book of Virtues, and it's a collection of just beautiful stories, but they all kind of follow certain character traits. And so the contents pretty much spells it out what traits they're going to go over. So courage and perseverance, responsibility, work, self-discipline, compassion and faith, honesty, loyalty, and friendship. And some of these are longer stories. Some of them are 1 page, but they all follow those, just those really good character qualities. And so I saw this and I was like, well, that is just so beautiful, and I really wanted to include that. So what we're going to do is 1 day a week, we will kind of just rotate through these. And so we read one of these a week, and then we'll read one of these a week. And I found this, again, at that second hand homeschool store. I fell in love with this because I think this is a great way to kind of break kids into, learning about Jesus and making it less, I guess, intimidating. But it just goes through different topics about Jesus and answers them in a really easy to understand way. So like when he was a boy, when he left home, the teacher, Savior, going to the cross, and then calling us to be disciples. But the lessons are just basically split into 2 pages. So here's like a story, and then here's the question that they're gonna the question they're gonna cover. Here's the answer and like a memory verse. And then it has these optional activities that you can do. And some of them are really great. Some of them are a lot more advanced, I think, than my son can handle next year. But I will definitely keep this book, and we'll probably do it a few times, throughout our future. Now this, I got because the, oh, you know what? I didn't bring that. Hang on one second. This is the, missionary book that came, on the book list from the Sunlight curriculum. And it's all, again, about, missionary tales, which is great. Some of these are really, really powerful stories, just written in a really beautiful way. However, my husband and I decided, as just for our family, that we were not ready to read some of these stories to our son. Some of them were very not suggestive as far as other religions and things, but we're just not quite ready to introduce him to those kinds of concepts at this time. I do think that there is a very appropriate age at which to introduce them to, missionaries and religions that believe in different things. I don't believe right now that that is the time. So, what we did instead is we are not going to use this book. So that is going to go away. And I got this book instead. So every time in our Sunlight manual, when we were to read one of these stories, I supplemented it with this. And it's basically a devotional about topics of science and how God fits into it. And so it has a whole bunch of lessons. I think there's 100. Yeah, 100. And here's just some of the things that it talks about. And I think my son will really, really like it because he's totally into space. He's totally into science right now. And so this will be really cool to kind of bridge the gap between science and religion and any questions that you would have about it. So that's what we're going to do instead of reading the missionary stories. Again, I totally intend to read missionary stories, just not right now. The next part is our loop topics that are not biblical based. So we have our religious loop topics and then kind of our other loop topics. And again, all of these will be in the basket, but then only one of these will be in the basket per quarter. So I have 4 topics that we're going to cover. And the first quarter, we're going to cover geography. So this is just a kid first atlas for children. I love it. The pictures are great. And the information is the perfect amount. And we're just going to go through this the first quarter. Maybe read 2 or 3 pages at a time. And then that will be our first quarter loop topic, geography. And then the third quarter is going to be kind of like a creative thinking, logic type thing. This book is all about riddles, and so we're going to do 1 or 2 riddles a day. And it just has a little, poem or riddle here, and then with pictures to help the children figure out what the question is asking. Again, just getting him ready for some more formal teaching of logic in the future. This is just a really fun icebreaker into that. So that's the second quarter that we're going to do critical thinking. Third quarter, we're going to be reading about animals. Again, 2 or 3 pages a day on this one. Nothing too crazy. The reason I love Usborne is because of their pictures and their bite-sized information and their internet links, so we'll use those definitely. But yep, we'll just go through this book about different animals, their habitats, and things like that. That's quarter 3. And then the last quarter, we will be doing kind of like a nature study about, you know, birds, trees, flowers, butterflies, wild animals, and fish, creepy crawlies. So we'll go through this book. Again, just a couple of pages a day, nothing too serious. But I'm really excited to kind of have this set up for the year. You know, instead of doing all of these at one time, splitting them up into quarters. And so again, this idea is not original to me. I got it from Pam Barnhill to have like a block schedule. So block 1 is going to be the atlas for geography. Block 2 is critical thinking. Block 3 or quarter 3 will be animals. And then block 4 is our nature book. Throughout the year, we will be doing drawing. So instead of us doing like a formal art, you know, learning about formal art, I kind of wanted to get them really excited about art first, which is like drawing. We've done a few pages in this already, but just this is the drawing book. And so for maybe like 10 or 20 minutes, I'll open up the page, and then both of my children will have art journals, and they can practice drawing these steps. And I love this book because it just goes through really easy steps. When we finish this book, we're going to go into drawing animals. Again, this is basically just an introduction into drawing, into letting them express themselves in that way. And then the last thing in here, these are going to be their art journals. They're just composition notebooks. I let them pick the color. I have like a whole bunch of these lying around. And so instead of buying new ones, I just let them pick which one they wanted. So these are ones they picked. And they can decorate them, put their name on it. And then when we do our drawing, they can put them in here. Or if they feel like they want to copy down anything in here that I'm saying, or if they want to draw what we're reading about, they can draw it in their journals as well. So those will kind of just be on hand for whatever they need. So that will be what is in our morning basket. I really hope that it's going to go well, because coming from the year that we had this year, and I'll do another video about kind of the review of our year this year. I'm really excited to kind of take the time to snuggle up with the kids on the couch doing this stuff. You know, I'm really excited to really get that kind of quality time with my kids. So that's what's going to be in our morning basket. And thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.